Cowabunga dudes and dudettes, this is Anthony, aka Batbomb82, and today I'll be doing a review of the Super7 TMNT Ultimates Muckman and Joe Eyeball. Now, as you can see, the figure comes in that standard box with the green slipcover with that really cool sewer lid image with Muckman. And if we remove the slipcover, you can see that the figures are showcased in your standard window box packaging with that green brick-like motif. And if we turn the box around, we can see more of that brick-like pattern with some really cool graffiti, and if we take a closer look, we can see a short bio for Muckman and Joe Eyeball. So with the box out of the way, let's go ahead and crack these figures open and let them breathe. Alright guys, now let's take a closer look at this new Ultimates Muckman. Dude, I am so freaking impressed. Like, Super7 is just on another level right now with what they're doing for me as far as their Turtles stuff goes. And this Muckman is mind-blowingly good. I'm so happy I have this. The vintage Muckman was great, and it's one of my favorite toys. I think I'm very much a fan favorite, and I do have my vintage Muckman right now, so you'll see more comparisons with him later. But I love this, man. The great thing about with this figure, I wasn't sure how they were going to do it, because he's one of those characters that the vintage toy just had such incredible sculpt, and some things were left unpainted, so you know, there was a lot of things you couldn't really see. This guy definitely benefits from modern paint apps and things like that, because they painted freaking everything, and I'm so happy about that. So I love the head sculpt here. It just looks so good. The paint looks great. I love things like how the eyes and the tongue are a little bit more of like a glossier coat to them, so they look shinier compared to the rest of the figure. And then you got sections of the chin where it's like a lighter green, darker green, lighter green, darker green. That was on the vintage figure as well, but this time you have a good wash all over that, which looks really good. You got a little insect on there. His little plug in his nose, I'm pretty sure he stinks like something fierce. You even got the little hat right here with the banana on it. You can pull that off and use slime in there if you want to, and you can kind of see where the slime would come out of the mouth. So that's awesome. I love the fact that they still included that. Moving on to the torso here, you can see another spider. You can see some, like, I don't know if that's supposed to be veins, but a little flower, a little teddy bear up in there that's fully sculpted. I mean, that is impressive stuff, man. You even get his little work badge because he was a custodian. So that looks really cool too. What does it say? Can't read that. My eyes are terrible, so you guys could probably read that better than I can right now. So that's really cool. That's what he used to look like. But moving down, you can see like the little frog right there. More bugs and like worms. You can see a bone sticking out right there. You got the little sewer lid that he stepped on that just became his foot, with a little soda bottle, a piece of pizza, another worm, another bone. You got a fish on this side with a trash can turned upside down with sludge coming out. I mean, there's all kinds of stuff to see, and you got a little apple right there that's all chewed up, fully painted. You got a little carton of milk. I mean, dude, that's crazy good how they painted all this stuff. Again, more insects. You got some shrooms coming out of their apple, another bottle of soda of some kind, another insect, another fish up here. Moving to the arms, a little can of soda. I mean, a little fly, two little flies right there. Look at the sculpting of the arm, and the paint looks crazy good. The hands look amazing. Going to this side, you got more of those mushrooms and a flower, more insects and bugs. The little bone coming out right there, connecting to the rest of the hand. Looks so good. Oh my god, man, I am so impressed with how they're doing this. He is a crazy, gross looking figure. I've always loved gross toys when I was a kid back in the day, and this is just amazing. I am so happy with what they did here. Super7 did an amazing job with him. So moving on to accessories here, we do get interchangeable hands, so you got two gripping hands that come on the figure. What I do love is that these other hands is like just covered in muck. You can see how there's like sludge spewing between the fingers. I think that's really cool. And then this one, same thing. You just have like sludge and things in there in the hands. So he is just slimy and gross. You see a little worm coming out of there. And you will notice that one has the peg sticking out and one doesn't, has the socket. That's just because how this is designed. So for like this hand right here, you couldn't have the peg going into a socket here because there is technically no socket with the bones. So you have to attach it like so. And it works out really good. A really tight fit, just get it on there. But I love how they did that, especially this hand right here. That just looks slimy and gross, and I think that's really cool. Now, the other accessories include things like the trash can backpack that he has here, fully painted, looking really good. You got the green slime or ooze coming down right there. You got a little slice of pizza. You got a little fish right there in a little can, looking really good. And I'm not sure if it was supposed to be like this, but like only the top fish bones are painted and not the bottom ones. So I don't know if that's an error or what, but it looks a little weird, but it's on the back, so that's cool. And you can just see the sheer size. Like here's the vintage one. You can see the sculpt and all that on there too with the little pizza and everything, just perfect. The size is completely dramatically different. That's insane. And then this thing, of course, does plug into the back right there. And what's really cool, this does have a little hole inside there where you can feed it through, and two of the stomach comes out like that. So you could put slime in here as well, and it'll ooze out of the stomach. So that's really awesome. And this can be fit in there like that. It's a really tight fit, brah, and that works out really good, man. So that is just beautiful. I freaking love this figure so much. Next up, we do have his weapon, his blaster, his whatever this thing is. I love this. It's like different types of cans. So you got like a soda can right there. You got different worms and sludge and insects and things like that. You got a can of peas and a can of worms. You got a soda can right there, even with the pull tab and things like that. That looks really cool too. And a ketchup bottle for his scope, which looks amazing. This can be held into that one gripping hand like that. Get it on there, nice and solid. So that works out really, really good. I'm digging that a lot. And again, you can just see the difference in size. Like, look at, here's the vintage gun, and here's the newer one. I mean, that is crazy to see the difference in size. Again, in sculpt and paint. I always love to sculpt these vintage figures, and this is just impressive to me. But going to be my favorite quote-unquote accessory is my boy Joe Eyeball here. This looks so cool. It is definitely a little minifigure. I always love when certain turtles came with little minifigs or a little secondary sidekick type of figures. I thought that was really, really cool. So I dig this. The paint looks great. His belly is painted, his mouth, the teeth, the eyeballs look great himself. He actually is a little articulated, so you can move around the top arms like that. And the head is on a ball peg, so you can roll it around and things like up and down a little bit, pivot a little bit, but mostly just left and right. And then again, sheer size comparison to the vintage Joe Eyeball. That is mind-blowing, dude. And these little sidekick characters were always just casted in a specific one color, but this guy's fully painted and articulated, and I think that works out really cool. And of course, you can put him in the backpack like that, facing forward or backwards, and there you go. Oh my god, I love this so much. Oh my god, it makes me feel like a big kid again, just having this awesome toy, looking amazing. He is so freaking good. I love it. So now let's check out the articulation. The head and the neck are on a big giant ball peg here, which is pretty standard for characters that are more hunched over. So it rolls around very nicely. He kind of rotates on like an axis like that, but he can still kind of look left and right on an axis. Goes up and down, you know, rotates, things like that. Everything pretty much we need to do. Arms can go full 360, up and out about that far. We can bend at the elbows, rotate at the elbows, rotation at the wrist, as well as a hinge at the wrist. This isn't a soft overlay for this upper part of the shirt, so it doesn't really get in the way of much. You can swivel left and right at the torso here. There's no ball peg, of course, because of that little gaping hole in his body, so you're mostly just going to get left and right. Legs can kip up at the hip that far, back about that much, splits out about that far, which is a little tight right now, but they're pretty decent. We can get a single bend at the knee, as well as rotation at the knee. And then we actually do get a really nice hinge at the ankles on the big one. Same thing with the smaller one down here. A sweet ankle rocker on that side, and a sweet ankle rocker on this big giant thing with a sewer lid. So that's impressive. I am so happy with this. This, oh my God, this, again, the vintage Muckman was easily one of my favorite toys as a kid, especially in the vintage line. I love that thing. He was so weird and gross. And again, for a lot of us back then, we're just really into gross toys. That was a very big popular thing. And the Turtles line was one of those lines that a lot of things were gross and a lot of sculpts were amazing. And I think Super7 did an impressive job updating such a wild and unique figure. I think they captured him beautifully. He's big and chunky, and I love him, man. He is a beautiful work of art, and he is definitely a must-get. So for a quick size comparison, here they are standing next to a Marvel Legends Deadpool and Mafex Batman figure. Also for comparison, here we are standing next to the vintage Muckman and Joe Eyeball from Playmates. And for even more comparison, here they are standing next to the Super7 Mutagen Man and Raphael. Also for comparison, here they are standing next to the Super7 Ultimates Donatello from this wave that I've already previously reviewed. And just for fun, here they are with little Lego Bat Bomb. So there it is, guys, my review of the Ultimates Muckman and Joe Eyeball. And wow, this has got to be one of the most impressive pieces from Super7. They absolutely killed it with this figure. He is huge, he is bulky, and he is just an awesome action figure on the shelf. His sculpting work was always some of the best from the vintage line, and man, seeing it updated with all those incredible detailed paint apps is beautiful. I love his weapon, I love how gross he is, I love that Joe Eyeball is actually fully painted and articulated this time, and the fact that they still kept the slime feature that you could add yourself is still really cool to me. This is one of those reasons why I love the Ultimates line, because they are taking some of my favorite toys from as a kid and completely updating them the right way with this particular line, and it's just awesome, man. I love it so much. Muckman has got to be one of the best figures from the Ultimates line, period, and he's just a fun freaking toy, and he's just so cool, and I can't keep chatting about him. I feel like I'm rambling about the good things on and on and on, but he deserves it. He's a badass action figure, and definitely a must-get. So be excellent to each other, and stay nerdy, my friends. Peace.